Hello and welcome to the Commune podcast. We are back this time to talk about The Wolf Among Us, which is a story thing by Telltale Games, and sometimes you hit some buttons and it does something. So to start off, I want to introduce our cast today. I'm Golem, and with me here is Adrian. How are you?
Good, and you?
I'm doing swell. Uh, Nick, how are you?
Hi, I'm pretty good.
You haven't been with us since, oh man, it's Axiom Verge, right?
Yes, a whole lot
Yeah.
happened, including me having my job taken all but 2 days off from it.
Oof. Um, and Wario fan, how are you doing?
Oh, well, I'm comfortable. I'm relaxed. I have the AC blowing in my face, so I'm happy.
Wow, and you can't hear it.
That's fine.
I remember Fox, it would always sound like an airplane taking off.
Yeah, that's still accurate.
And with us for the first time is Marielle. How are you doing?
I'm doing well.
All right. Marielle, I know we've talked about this before. Have you played a game where you can influence the game's story?
Yeah, those are actually my favorite games. And this isn't my first Telltale game either.
So can you name a particular one?
A particular what?
Particular game where you had influence over the story?
Well, let's see. There's Fallout. There's The Sims. There's the Walking Dead series. Lots of games with multi-finality.
So I think of the people here, you might have the most Sims experience. How do you have an impact over the story in that game?
Well, technically The Sims is also called a god simulator where you're controlling the people and selecting what actions they take, almost like a virtual dollhouse. So
the idea of The Sims is that there's no real underlying story hard-baked into the game, but instead the story is whatever sequence of events you make these avatars go through.
pretty much, though within the series you can select aspirations for your Sims, which sort of influence what kind of wants the Sims may desire to take throughout their life.
It's a god game. You also have some direction there, that it's not just whatever you want, but instead that you create a character and they have this certain need, and it's their course through fulfilling it.
Yeah, so we're in the fourth generation from the original, and as the series has progressed, your Sims can have traits, and then in the current iteration, which is Sims 4, the traits that you give your Sim end up influencing the whims that they end up rolling. So, like, if you have a Sim who's family-oriented, they're going to want to have lots of children and get married and do lots of family-based interactions on their own.
Okay. Nick, have you played any games where you have an impact on the story?
I have played several Telltale games. I've played Walking Dead 1, I think I've played 2. I've played Wolf Among Us twice, trying to see different results. I've played Fallout 3, 4, and New Vegas. And I could say that New Vegas and Fallout, the entire series, is vastly different from Wolf Among Us, in that if your character were to die in Wolf Among Us, everything would go on. Like, it would make sense for it to go on, but in a game like Fallout, your character is very much the hero, the center of the story. I don't know if that makes sense.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure I understand. Like, all the decisions I make in Bigby's decisions.
That's true, but I feel that they are less massive, and it feels a lot more grounded in its setting, and it's less not grounded in its setting. I'm speaking terribly, but I'm thinking that it's a lot less setting changing. Whereas in Fallout, you can choose to. I don't want to spoil anything, but if there was a point where you could nuke something, you could. And Wolf Among Us, it's a little more on the rails, and I think that it's very well with what it does for storytelling.
Okay. So in Fallout, how sorry if you already explained this, but how do you impact the story in Fallout?
I'm going to use New Vegas as an example, probably because it's the one of the
Great
best ones
choice.
to use. Of course. A good example for New Vegas is that you can choose to ally with one side, which is Caesar's Legion. You can choose to ally with another. You can choose to line everybody up with one side and then support the other side so you screw everything over that you just work to help them ally with. You could also work with everybody and then just ruin it all by making it so that nobody wins but you. You could literally make it so that nobody is in power but yourself.
So it's that all these separate characters have their own goals, and the story is influenced by they need your help to reach that goal, so you can choose to do so or not.
Yes, and I feel that a game such as Fallout New Vegas, our character changes much more in the world, and it's like characters would not even have reached certain points if our character does not interact with it. Whereas in The Wolf Among Us, the decisions you do make do not change the outcome as nearly as roughly as Fallout does.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Wario fan, have you played a game where you can influence the story?
So a game I played where decisions mattered, right?
Yeah.
And see, now here's the problem: is that I'm myself making a decision on which decision-based game to mention. Let's see. Well, I'm kind of a sucker for the Quantic Dream games.
Indigo Prophecy.
Yeah, Heavy Rain, Beyond. Mostly the latter two, because they feature heavily more of the choice things than anything, and they can kind of impact what kind of ending you get. You know, sometimes you can let characters die off, and that'll that'll affect things later on, or maybe you don't get the hints you need when you're supposed to, and then that kind of makes it tougher to figure out some of the puzzles later on. Sort of that sort of thing, and it's also got. I think it has the kind of anxious timer thing that Telltale games do too.
That's true. Yeah, I completely forgot, but that's in. I played Indigo Prophecy, and it is in there. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good summation of how you have an impact on the story in those games. Adrian, have you played any games where you have a significant impact on the story?
Yeah, we have Fallout, Sims 2, Undertale, which we played on the Commune, Deus Ex Human Revolution, and this one is probably the funniest of them all, Shadow the Hedgehog.
You know what? You got to talk about Shadow.
Okay, well, in Shadow, the Hedgehog, every stage you have about 2 or 3 missions that you can do. Depending on which one you complete, the story progresses in that direction. And at almost any point in the game, you always have at least 2 decisions to make. And the game is also fairly transparent about where the story branches off from there, what level you go to next. So you can actually literally see how your choices affect the story. Unfortunately, not unfortunately, but the final episode's all the same, but the regular campaign's all different.
Do you feel like you had a significant impact on the story there, though?
If it wasn't for the final episode, which is completed when you get all the endings, but the first time, though, yeah, it did feel like it.
Okay. I guess there are, there are some where you could kill Sonic, or you could do the all good, or whatever.
Yeah, you can decide, do you want to be an evil tyrant, or just figure out who you are, or what the hell.
To me, though, it just feels disjointed because you can go up and down along the morality scale as you wish, and the cutscenes don't feel connected from one to the next because you could have made a million other, you could have taken a million paths up to this point, and not all of them make sense with the next cutscene.
Right. I
You know
know
what I mean?
there are particular ways that you can advance through the story that don't entirely make sense, and that's because of the fact that some levels there's actually like 3 ways to get to that point, depending on which
Right.
mission you chose, because of that tree root structure it has. Well, whether or not they always make sense, to me, isn't the important part though. It's that you actually have a choice that influences what you do next and where you go to and what happens.
Right. If you help the evil guy, you go to a different level than if you help the good guy.
Yeah, or if you just do the neutral route, it's like, I'm just gonna get the Chaos Emerald and do what I want.
All right. One thing that was on my mind the whole time while I was playing this was the idea of authorship, or the idea that I am one of the writers of the story. And I think if we take out our handy dandy ladder of abstraction, at the very bottom of that is the individual choices you make. And so I want to talk about those to get a better understanding of the larger picture of the more abstract idea of authorship. So first I wanted to talk about a pretty big choice, and if you haven't cleared Wolf Among Us, spoiler warning, I wanted to talk about killing the Crooked Man at the end of episode 5, or whether or not you kill the Crooked Man at the end of episode 5. Marielle?
I think we threw him down the well, right? We played together.
Yeah, I didn't want to.
You didn't want to throw him down the well?
No, it was mean.
Well, okay, so since you guys don't know, Greg was like controlling everything. He was like, manning the gun, so to speak. But I was sitting on the couch behind him, reading the choices and telling him which to pick. Although if I did it too late, he would like pick the wrong one, which is kind of funny. But it was funny because sometimes I would tell him what to pick, and he'd pause the game and look back at me and go, "Are you sure?"
Oh,
But yeah, it was pretty fun. I think there were only a couple of times, but I'll mention later what times those were. But it was pretty funny.
And Wario fan, what did you kill the Crooked Man or let him live?
Well, what choice do you think I made?
I think you left him alive.
Oh, I thought you were gonna reply with silence. But I
Sorry?
did let him live. I don't know. It was one of those where I don't know. I think Granny Greenleaves convinced me to do it. Something she said. I don't know.
Was that the woman that had the tree?
Yeah,
Yeah,
the tree lady.
The witch.
Just to make sure I understand, Lady Greenleaves convinced you to throw Crooked Man down the well. And down
No,
the well.
she convinced me to let him live. She said, "There's a better way. I know
Okay.
one." And I said, "Fine." And then Bigby said, "Fine."
Okay. On your behalf.
Yes.
Adrian, did you kill the Crooked Man?
No.
Why not?
And the story even gives a very good reason for that.
What is that reason?
Because, as you see afterwards, Nerissa lied.
Oh, right.
That is a very good reason why I do not approve of capital punishment. So I'm like, no. I even made one of the smaller choices where I didn't let anyone put a vote to it. I didn't let Snow decide. I said, no, I'm making the call here, and I'm saying capital punishment, go fuck that. we're letting him live.
Wow, that's principled.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, Marielle, did this influence any later cutscenes? Like, did the characters treat us any differently afterwards?
No, we still got the confession from Narissa. Although maybe I'm naive, but I didn't think that throwing him down the well was the same as killing him. I thought it was just the witching well, where he would just be like tortured or something. Like essentially, what's it called? Fableville or something? What's the town called? I forget.
Fabletown.
Fabletown, that's right. I just kind of figured that it would be their equivalent of like jail or prison.
Oh.
Because remember, you had the option to like physically kill him yourself,
Yeah.
but we didn't do that.
So, Nick, what is the witching well?
The witching well actually is a road to their afterlife.
Ah,
So if you threw him down it, yes, you did kill him.
gotcha.
That's
If
also why they threw Lily's body down the well.
Yep. If the person dies, they also are in the witching well. This is discovered later when somebody actually finds a way to go into the witching well and bring somebody back out.
Wait, what?
I didn't make that connection.
So somebody later on in the books actually will go down and into the witching well and bring somebody back out.
Oh,
Like a grappling hook at the top.
Yep. And I could tell y'all if you don't mind.
I would
no,
like to know.
No, spoiler.
Yeah,
yeah, I
spoiler.
was kind of planning
Yeah,
to
I
read
think-
the books. I kind of thought maybe.
All right, then I won't bring it up. But I will say, yeah, then not spoiler. I will say, it is interesting that death and being thrown down the witching well both result in the same way. Makes you wonder if it does just kill the person when they go down. Because, yeah. But other things to note: the farm definitely is not good. Definitely.
Yeah, I got that impression as well.
So that would be more the jail prison equivalent.
It's like jail, but if you went to jail, there's these two big buff guys with hammers that were going to beat you.
That sounds like prison to me. I don't know.
It is a prison, but there are people there that cannot live in, human world because they're just violent or too inhuman.
I didn't know if we should be delving too much into the actual series.
All right.
I kind of thought some of this stuff was like maybe you got like a special cutscene for doing what you did there, but
I will say that's interesting though. The guy with the crooked man, he is not in the books. This story is written up by Telltale.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
cool.
the original story is called Fable, so that's one of the reasons. The fact that the name is different means it's not even adaptation. It's just slightly based on the story, but they took all creative liberties with it, so it's not a game adaptation like The Walking Dead was.
Yeah,
so that's why
I think it's
also
deliberately a
prefer to not talk
prequel,
about
though,
Fables.
I don't know, but I do know the writer the writer of the Fables. He kind of really disagreed with almost everybody's decisions.
In the story, you mean?
Yes, he would have burned. He said Bigby would have burned the tree.
Oh,
Well, but
Well, I
that
mean,
was an option.
Yes, but
Well,
he said that.
Let's not get too far off topic.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Appreciate the perspective.
Yeah.
Speaking of Bill Willingham, Wario fan, do you think Bigby would have let the Crooked Man live?
that's kind of hard, I think, especially for me since I only know the Bigby that I was. So I don't know how if Bigby's a big roughhouser in the books. I mean the way Nick says it is. I think he might be a little rougher in the actual series than I made him out to be. So it's possible that he probably would have ripped his head off right there.
So you think you think you had a pretty significant impact on Bigby's character then, that he had his identity is dependent on you.
Within the context of the game, I think, but I don't think the way I made Bigby, would carry over to to the series, it sounds like.
I would like to point out that I don't think that comparing it to the actual series matters in the sense of Bigby, because I would say that this is kind of your Bigby or our Bigby. It doesn't have to be the comics Bigby, because it's our perspective on it.
So you would say that Bigby's an avatar for the player, less so than an actual independent guy.
Yes and no, because there's enough independence in him to you can tell that he's an enforcer, but you can still see what kind of demeanor you want in him.
Okay. So I can't make him give up smoking, but I can at least force him to offer a smoke to Colin.
You cut out, but I could hear the first half and say, yes, you're absolutely right.
Marielle, do you agree that, your final choice with killing the Crooked Man or throwing the Crooked Man down the well fit with Bigby simply because Bigby was whatever your choices made him out to be?
Yeah, I think that ultimately fit with his character development. Yeah.
Okay. So, Adrian, what was your favorite small choice in the game? And by small choice, I just mean any dialogue option. It could have had zero impact on anyone else, but just any dialogue choice that you liked.
Oh, I know which one I liked. It's when, and this is also goes to the part about how your choices don't matter, but it's the figuring out who the killer is. That was the one small doesn't actually matter, because even if you get it wrong, you still find out who it is choice, but I do like that.
So what individual choice are you talking about?
The one where when you confront the Crooked Man, everyone's there, and you get the choice to say, I already know who did it, and then you answer, and I got it right.
Could you say again why you like that so much?
I like it because it's the part of the game that I do like, which is, being like a sheriff, like a detective, of putting evidence together and saying, this is what I think happened, and then being given confirmation that I was right. It's the part that felt more or less like a game.
Like the part where you're in Toad's apartment and you're putting together the fact that Tweedle roughed him up.
Yeah, calling him out on his lies. Same thing with the murder scene, the second murder scene you see at the puddin'. No, not the puddin' pie. That's not what it's called. The Love Hotel.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
The Love Hotel, where you get to see, Crane has a a real fantasy for Snow White, and you put the pieces together. That was another example of that. Basically, almost every investigation scene. That's why I had trouble narrowing it down to one. But the one that I really liked was being able to call out. We all know who the killer is. It was Georgie Porgy, and it's the the most subtle thing ever. If you did not remember your conversation with TJ, where what he remembers hearing is "stop laughing at me," you would have no idea who it was, and he only says it like a few moments before you go through the door.
Why is "stop laughing at me" Georgie Porgy?
Because you hear him say that as you're about to go in. And that's what TJ heard before he threw her body down the lake.
So that's like his
I didn't even
catchphrase.
remember.
Oh my gosh, that's so subtle. I didn't even catch it, and I played the game twice.
I know. That's why it's super subtle, and to be honest, I'm not even sure I like that it was that ridiculously subtle, but hey, at least it was there, and I picked up on it, and I got, confirmation that, hey, good job, detective. It's like, yeah.
Super sleuth. Mario fan, what was a small choice that you liked?
I guess, I can't think of anything better. I'm sure there is, but I guess I feel like one I liked for some reason or another is when you enter the butcher shop, nobody's there, and he sees the stop smoking sign, and you can just choose to follow it or not, because whatever, it's a sign,
Yeah.
That's a good one.
So
I stole it from The Simpsons, so,
What choice did you make?
The first time I played through that scene, I stopped smoking. I felt like, well, I better listen. You know, I thought maybe there's something might happen if I was caught smoking and the butcher comes out. So I didn't know what kind of person he was then. So
Fables in general need to stop smoking.
Well, it's not like they get cancer.
I guess.
So you played a very respectful Bigby.
I tried to. You know, I you know, in the beginning, I was very ardent to the law. I was like, "Get your damn glamour, Toad!" But, you know, near the end, I was like, you know, well, here's some money, Toad. Colin, you can stay. I'm not gonna burn the tree. It's okay. You know, everything's fine.
Yeah. Nick, what was one small choice that you enjoyed?
Actually, he just referenced it. I like that if you say Colin can stay, it doesn't actually ask you again later, do you want to send Colin off anyway? No, he actually stays. And if you say that he needs to get glamour or whatever, then he goes. And it's actually interesting because it doesn't bring it up again, but it's a small thing that does affect his friend, his neighbor. Well, not neighbor, but
Reluctant roommate.
reluctant roommate. That's a perfect word for it. But it's small and it didn't seem like it affected much at the time, other than how they felt about you, but it did affect the ending. Just a little.
Okay, so you liked it because it had a lasting impact that was subtle.
It was subtle, yes, and it was a lasting impact, but I didn't think it was going to have a lasting impact when it seems like an offhand moment.
You just did it because it felt like the thing to do in the moment.
Yeah. Yeah, it felt like it was just saying, yeah, I'll protect my friend, but then when he didn't say that in the second time, he ended up going, and I realized that was what it was.
And Marielle, what's your favorite small choice?
Well, I guess anytime you could hit someone in the face felt really good. So I don't know if that technically counts as small. I mean, the way this game kind of played to me, it was like every choice was an ethical dilemma almost, and it was sort of like a social work simulator. Where
So did you still hit them?
Oh,
Is that what you do in
okay,
social?
I've gotten into grad school, so I can say this. Yes, I did. And I enjoyed it. But no, I mean, like, sometimes the choices came down to you're not picking like a good choice or a positive outcome. You're kind of picking like the lesser of two evils. It was just, I like that.
So who did you hit?
Who in particular do you? Yeah.
Well, I don't want to give anything away, but there was somebody you get to kill, not the...
No, this is all about giving it away.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know the rules. So this was one of those choices where Greg looked back at me and went, "Are you serious?" So when you finally meet Bloody Mary and you have Crane and you're in like that alley, you have the choice to kill Tweedle, D or Dumb. I forget which one. And I was like, heck yeah. I've been waiting to kill him since like the first scene that we met him. I was all over that. And that was one of those moments where Greg looked back at me like, "Are you sure?"
So did you also rip Gren's arm off?
I didn't, because I felt like I was going to need him later. Although I could have ripped it off and kept the arm, but
Did you punch Georgie Porgy or break his shit?
we didn't break his shit. But also,
No.
I did feel like Greg just kind of, he was guilt tripping me. Anytime I wanted to like do something really nasty, he would like argue with me a little bit, and it's like, all right, we won't break his strip club. We killed Tweedle. We don't have to break all of his, bar and whatever.
Did you hit the woodsman when he called her a bitch?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right.
Did you glass him?
Did I glass him?
That's when you
There's
can
this,
hit him with the glass.
there's this one famous action in the game that just says glass him when he's at the bar talking with you, and most people are like, "Oh, I'll give him a glass." No, he grabs a glass and it just knocks him out of his chair.
I think we did do that, and actually, Greg and I were like, "What?" I think we did do that. Do you remember that, Greg? Or am I misremembering?
Yeah, I was trying to be nice.
And
then the game's like, no.
The first time I played through Chapter 1, I caught Tweedledee. And so I had the interrogation scene with him in Episode 2. And, I was good cop. And I went to play the scene again so I could fill out the Book of Fables stuff. And I just decided, well, I'm going to be the biggest asshole possible now. So all I did was I would just slam him in the face and just repeatedly, and Tweedledee kept going, "What the F, Bigby?" And Crane's looking at me like, "Please calm down. Please stop this. I told Bluebeard you were a good guy." And then at one point, I grabbed the bottle of wine or whatever, and I just smack him on the head with it, and he got so irritated with me. And then I took the money he was having. He's like, "Why did you do that?" And then Crane says, "Stop! Why did you take the money? We have to do something." And it was just, I felt so bad, but it was just kind of hilarious. I don't know if anybody else, if it's the same way if you're interrogating the woodsman there or not, but my God.
It is, but it's even funnier because the woodsman didn't do anything.
Yeah. Bluebeard must have been very proud of you.
So, in general, Marielle, do you feel like you have an impact over the story?
Not as much as other games I have played, I would say.
Why is that?
Because, well, okay, I really wanted Snow and Bigby to end up together, and that, they just kind of left that alone. And, I was waiting for, a wedding scene or something. But no, I mean, I guess because, there may have been some variability in terms of, who's alive and, who makes it to the next chapters and so on. But, ultimately, there's one guy who's guilty, these people, were accomplices, blah, blah, blah. So I don't really feel like it altered as much as I would have liked.
Nick, do you feel like you had much of an impact on the story?
It's a little bit mixed because I feel that his character does, but I feel that myself, not quite as much. There are points where it felt like it's stronger affected, like you could save the what's his name, the prince in the beginning that attempted suicide. That
Prince
I thought
Lawrence.
was yeah, I thought that was amazing that it was to do that, but it never did anything with it. He appears later once, and I never felt that I myself changed a whole lot, but I didn't mind it because I felt the story was pretty contained well in itself.
Okay. Wario fan, do you feel like you had an impact on the story?
Let's see. About a week or so ago, I mentioned there was a quote in the game that I sort of felt was kind of relevant to itself. And that was at the beginning of Episode 2 when Ichabod tells you, "Our stories used to be so simple. We had a beginning, a middle, and an end." And I kind of feel like, for the most part, I had an influence on the middle.
But not the beginning and the end.
Not so much, no. I mean, what's the one? Episode 3, I think it is. When you decide to which of 3 places to investigate first. I've tried that 3 different times, and you always end up with the same conclusion each time. Even if you're always going to end up going to the Trip Trap, and that never changes. But depending on if you pick the Tweedle office first or Crane's apartment first, the other one gets altered. So
So what's the alteration there? Is it any what was the alteration?
well, let's see. If you go to Crane's apartment, if you let Bluebeard go to Crane's apartment, he burns everything. If you let him go to Tweedle's office, he beats up Flycatcher for information. And
No.
well, it's off screen, but yeah. And I kind of forget. But the gist, I think, is that if you pick the other one, it kind of wastes Bigby's time. Because you don't get info from Crane's office if Bluebeard went there, and you don't get info from Tweedle's office if Bluebeard went there.
Right. And no matter what, you always end up with the same clues just from
you will, even if you know exactly what to do, you will always be late to Auntie Greenleaf's apartment. So that whole thing with you got to find the witch before 2 a.m. It's all smoke and mirrors.
Isn't that the name of that episode?
Exactly. Oh no, that's not that episode. But yeah, there's no reason to make you feel rushed because you will always end up there at the exact same time, even if you skip the place you that will waste Bigby's time.
Okay. And Adrian, do you feel like you had an impact on the story?
Minimally. Much as Derek's saying, even when you're given choices, you still end up at the same places. There are some alterations, so that is you having an effect, but not that much. And of course, the ending, deciding what to do with the Crooked Man.
Right.
Because that is an actual impact that, should there be a sequel, should carry over into it.
Right.
Yeah, so I think you affect the middle, but generally Bigby starts and ends kind of at the same points either way.
Yeah, I just mean beyond just the case being solved, what happens to the Crooked Man. I say that's a significant effect, or at least a significant influence on the ending that you have. At least that's what I consider one. All the other things are just like minor changes in dialogue or characters' attitudes toward you, things like that.
So, I wanted to talk about
Sorry.
I wanted to talk about an article in PC Gamer that I found. It was published pretty recently, and it speaks to how I felt about this game. It's by Andy Kelly, and it's called "I'm Over the Fact That Choices Don't Really Matter in Telltale Games." And the quote, the real nugget of the story is, quote, "Even though the story will end the same way for everyone, bar a few details here and there, these little choices, and the ripples they send through the narrative, are enough to make the experience feel like more than just passively watching a TV show. Altering the tone of the story, and how the protagonist makes their way through it, is really what Telltale Games excel at. It's about how you approach a situation, not how you shape it." So the idea here is that your choices are an end in themselves, that when you choose to pay Snow a compliment or you choose to insult Snow and you don't really have a lasting impact on the story, the point was more so to give you room to express yourself regardless of how the game chooses to react. So Marielle, I wanted to ask, do you think you can create a consistent character out of Bigby with the options they give you?
Do I think you can create a consistent character?
I didn't really think too well about how to phrase this, did I?
Well,
So-
I think I know what you mean.
So, Wario fan, can you? Yeah.
Like how I was saying before, how, right at the first conversation with Mr. Toad, I was like, hey, get your damn glamour. I could be more, keep to that sort of, strict adherence to, hey, Toad, get your glamour. I'm not going to help you out. It's against the law. Colin, get your glamour, I could make a Bigby that's completely in line with that sort of thing. I feel, and of course you can't really tell Beauty and Beast to get glamorous, but you could probably be more like hey, I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna tell him I saw you. All right, I'm not gonna cover for you. Sorry, and probably sort of that whole deal. I'm not gonna lie. I'm just gonna cut straight to the truth. I'm gonna follow the rules. Probably that sort of thing. Is that what would answer your question?
Yeah. And do we all generally feel that way?
Yeah, I felt that there were like 3, personality types throughout. Mm-hmm.
Can you name what they were?
So there was like hard ass Bigby, which I guess was like how he was before the story begins, because Snow often reprimands him. And then there's like a gentler. What?
The hard ass Bigby would be the one that burns down Greenleaf's tree.
Probably. That was probably the meanest option in that point. And then there's the soft and tender one, and then there's kind of like the medium Bigby.
Well, wait a minute. I think there's a fourth Bigby, though.
The silent autistic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mr. Quiet.
It's funny because I used to joke with Greg, like, "Oh, Greg, if you were playing as yourself, you'd just hit that option where you say nothing all the time." I mean, Gollum.
In the first episode, I played once by myself, and I tried to convince Beauty I did not care about her problem, and she just kept confessing the world to me.
That's how it works, though, to be honest.
Nick, is the silent option common in Telltale games?
It's in every Telltale game, even the
Okay.
Minecraft one. And there are YouTube videos that are just Bigby is silent through the entire course of the Wolf
Yeah,
Among Us.
I saw one scene of that a few months ago, where he's silent for when Beast asks him where his wife is in the elevator. He's like, "Come on, Bigby, talk to me. F you,"
See, I don't remember the silent options from Walking Dead, but it's been years since I've played.
If you wait long enough, it'll count as silence.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't an actual option you could press.
I think it could have been, but either way, there's always an option to say nothing.
Gotcha. That's
Almost
interesting.
always. So you can go the whole game, and then it's like, Bigby, do you want to go here or here? And then you say it, and they're like, holy crap, you can talk.
So, Adrian, if you can construct coherent Bigbys that are essentially different Bigbys, but the world doesn't change because of your choices, if the world is the same whether you're mean or you're silent, is your presence in the world meaningful?
That's actually one of the biggest questions I had, and what I meant by structure is like, just get at the question: what are the pros and cons of structuring your game like this? Like, what's even the point of making a game this way? Because I mean, gonna be real here. Wolf Among Us it's barely a game at all. So, you could say it goes more into that interactive fiction territory, I guess.
Yeah.
But the question of like, is this even a sensible way to, construct a story like this, if most of your choices aren't going to matter, so on and so forth. Like, what is it? Because anyone can say, oh, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. But what does it mean in the journey when it's like, what does it mean when you can't interact with the world? Because part of interacting with something is seeing different things happen, right?
It's not an interaction if you can do arbitrary things and get the same result.
Exactly. So it's like, hey, you have choices A, B, C, and D, but no matter what, you're still going to get result F.
Right.
So basically, I'm answering your question with, hey, that's a question I was also thinking about, and I'm kind of wondering what everyone else is thinking. To me, I'm undecided. I still don't know how I feel about this. There are other issues that I had with the story itself, and I guess I'll just bring up one moment where about you're asking about Bigby's character. Even if you are playing a nice Biggie, he will always use the intimidation tactic with Georgie Porgy. He will always grab that what the fuck is that? A wicket? What's that game the Brits play? Croquet or something with the big square bat?
Cricket?
Yeah, cricket. He always takes the cricket bat and slides it along and just being intimidating with it. No option. There is no option to not do that. So in terms of a consistent Biggie, Big B,
Biggie Smalls.
yeah, he's always going to be that way. So there are moments where, hey, I was trying to be a nice cop, but I can't get around this one, and that really kind of breaks the illusion of being able to craft even a nicer Bigby, because he's still going to do that. There's no way where you can also avoid certain fights, as in he is going to fight, and
So
not in the way like to apprehend or even just like back off, run away, maybe get other authorities. Like he doesn't even call for backup. So
You
when
would
you're in
e-
a yeah.
The point is that you would deny that you can even make a coherent Bigby. That there are some Bigby expresses a personality beyond your control, which can be inconsistent with your own decisions.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Okay.
And you could also say that, the decisions presented to you are decisions that Bigby himself would make. But even within that, I guess you can say that there's hard-ass Bigby and a little nicer Bigby, but this nicer Bigby is still going to kick your ass and intimidate you if he needs answers.
Yeah. Or if you are a mere creature monster.
Oh, I remember. There was one part with when you're interacting with the mirror and you didn't have to rhyme, but he does your request anyway. That really pissed me off.
Yeah. I think definitely one of the choices I really did not like having to do, and you had no choice because you would literally game over if you did not do it. It's the fight with Beast, where you fucking gouge his eyes. Like, Jesus, did you have to go for his damn eyes? Pry the bar away or something.
There were a lot of eye shit in this game, which that's like no for me. I agree with Adrian. I felt that some of the choices were merely like cosmetic and not necessarily an influence on the greater story.
Okay. Well, thank you all for joining me. Before we go, I wanted to ask, Adrian, if you are a resident in Fabletown, what Fable would you be?
I'm probably Aladdin.
Oh, cool. Okay.
It's racist. Just kidding.
You're gonna have
How
to
dare
explain
you.
that one to me. Marielle, what Fable would you be?
What Fable would I be? I'm not that familiar with Fables. Isn't there one woman who has like a bunch of pets or something?
Not
Look
ringing
that
any
one
bells for me.
Okay, I made it up. I don't know.
You want to be the pet lady? Okay.
There was a lady who swallowed a fly, and then she kept swallowing things that fly, and
If you give a mouse
Actually,
a cookie,
that is pretty much me.
if you give a mouse a cookie,
Oh, that's cute.
So, Nick, is that your Fable?
no, I'm Santa because I'm fat and bearded.
Me
And you
too. No, just kidding.
You have a beard?
I can tell you right now, I once went a whole year without shaving.
Wow.
I couldn't do that. I like being clean shaven.
But the
I
beard doesn't like grow that fast, right? Like how like long does it get by a year?
It
It
doesn't.
varies from person to person.
Yep. Right now, it's a few inches long at least, like 3.
So, Wario fan, what Fable would you be?
I think I would be Ichabod Crane, but personified more as the coward and not the stern man.
Oh.
Not the guy with the creepy photos.
No, I'd be the one just running away at every opportunity.
Instead of a sex pervert.
You could have
All
picked Tiny Tim.
I'm so glad I didn't say Snow. He's Crane.
Adrian, do you have any final words?
I don't know. I'm still gonna have to, think over some things about this game. There's definitely questions you would naturally have about the story that just aren't answered, or you have to look into the little fables entries they have, which is so removed from the story that you actually have to push start and go in there. You can't catch those details from normal gameplay. Just things like how their world exactly works. Just
Right.
questions like that. Like, why is it so fucked up? Why do they have only one sheriff?
All right. Marielle, do you have any final thoughts?
It was nice to be a part of this. I know that's not really related to the gameplay at all.
No, it's fine.
Yeah, I don't know. This was fun. I enjoyed this. I'd like to do this again.
All right. Nick, do you have any final thoughts?
Related to the game, this wasn't brought up. You can get a bad ending.
So what's the bad ending?
And what would that be?
If you do not take the crooked man back and you just kill him, it does count as an ending for the game, and Bigby is no longer sheriff after that, as well as he is forced to leave.
I wanna see
I
that.
wonder.
Oh, wow. See,
Yeah.
so you do have more effect on the ending.
Yeah, it was another ending. I don't think there's any others, but that was an ending that I was amazed that they bothered putting in. But it was probably worth it to at least see how it works. It's not as cinematic as the other ending. It doesn't have a whole big cutscene. But other than that, sorry for being away for so long, and I enjoyed this.
Hey, anytime. Welcome back. It's, no big. Waria fan, do you have any final thoughts?
I just really appreciate that his name is Bigby Wolf. Bigby Wolf. I love it.
That is the best. All right.
Yeah, I might also just throw in there that I still enjoyed the game. I mean, once
Right.
I started, I went several hours into it. Instead of taking my time and doing one episode per session, I'm like, nah, I'm just going to nail out these 3 back-to-back.
It's fun. It's so fun to see that it's less of a game and you can still enjoy it. But man, when you play a lot of Telltale games, they start to blend together. I know this seems a little irrelevant, but I think this is just an example of how weird Telltale can get. One of the new decisions in the new Batman is Harley offers you a drink of her soda. Joker looks on in horror. You have to choose whether to sip it or not.
That's pretty
Like
good.
a Strong Bed Season 2.
Oh, they need to go back and do a lot of things. But yes, this was great.
All right. Well, thank you all for joining me.
Thanks for having us.
Yes, thank you.
All music in this podcast was from The Wolf Among Us. If you have any comments or questions, please email vgcommune@gmail.com.